Hello students, today's video is in continuation with the previous one because in the previous video I had dealt with the first two stanzas of the poem, The Last Ride Together. In the present video, we are going to proceed further. So, looking at the third stanza, if we take up the third stanza, in the third stanza, the speaker goes on describing how the narrator feels when his mistress comes close to him. Hush, if you saw some western cloud, all billowy bosomed, overboard by many benedictions, suns and moons and evening stars at once, and so you looking and loving best. Here, the narrator compares the way his mistress leans and lingers around him to a cloud. He says that she is like a western cloud with a sea wave like pattern. Enhancing the beauty of this cloud, he says, this cloud is blessed by the light of the sun, the moon, and the evening star all at once. Now, this is something very special. See, the cloud itself is very beautiful, and when it is just bestowed by the beauty of sun, moon, and evening star together, one can just imagine the enhanced beauty of that cloud. So, it is a kind of comparison which suggests that the beloved appeared very beautiful to the lover, that means to the narrator. This also suggests narrator's desire to make it sound pure and ethereal. He wants to prove that his love for his beloved was pure and ethereal. The narrator also wants to convey the feeling that everything in love feels like blessed. Conscious grew, your passion drew, cloud, sunset, moonrise, starshine too, down on you, near and yet more near, till flesh must fade, for heaven was here. The narrator says that just by loving someone with a true heart, it makes you feel, you can say, conscious. You become conscious of the world. And that passion draws all the wonderful things of nature like clouds, moon, and starlight to make one feel like they are in heaven. That means the lover is always in a state of bliss because for him, the center of all his joy, that is his beloved, is with him. He feels a pang both of joy and fear as she lies a moment resting her head on his breast. As he says, thus leaned she and lingered, joy and fear. Thus lay she a moment on my breast. Now, when the beloved reclined on the breast, on the chest of the lover, that means the narrator, felt both joy and fear. He was joy, that was very obvious. He was joyous, it's very obvious. Why? Because he was in so much close company, close communion with his beloved, and is afraid that this moment is transitory. Very soon it is going to pass. So in this paragraph, you can say that it's a bit sensuous. Here, the narrator is comparing the beauty of his beloved, that too with a cloud which is filled with the light of sun, moon, and evening star, as well as he is happy to be in her company. Taking up the next paragraph. The fourth stanza of the poem reflects on the poet's philosophy of life. Then we began to write. My soul smoothed itself out, a long cramped scrawl, freshening and fluttering in the wind. Past hopes already lay behind. What need to strive with a life awry? Here, in these lines, the narrator believes that the life is ever changing and the people must not stick to the past but try to move on. As you can see in the very first line of this stanza, the two lovers finally begin on their ride. And as they ride, the lover feels his soul smooth itself out, meaning that the feelings that were cramped inside him finally give way to thought. He feels fresh, like as he goes through the wind. He feels as if his soul is fluttering like a piece of paper which was up till now lying cramped. Suddenly it is moved by the fluttering of the wind. The lover feels himself escape from his past hope of being with his mistress. He has got over it. He questions the use of sticking to life, failure and missed opportunities. Had I said that, had I done this, so might I gain, so might I miss. Might she have loved me? Just as well, she might have hated, who can tell? Here the narrator says that people often think about what could have happened had they said things differently or done things differently. He argues that he might have cleared some things, but he is quite sure that he could have missed some other. He wonders what he would do if she hated him. Worst could have happened to him. That means at present at least he is enjoying the company of his beloved. It could have been worse. The beloved could have altogether rejected his proposal of this last ride together. Where had I been now if the worst befell? And here we are riding, she and I. So he says that what could he had done if she had hated him? Keeping in mind all these things, he says, letting go of the past is necessary so that one can enjoy the present moment. And he says the present is what they are feeling at present. And here both of them are happy, at least he is happy to get the chance again of being in the company of his beloved, and both of them are riding together. So throughout this paragraph, the poet is trying to convince himself that one should stick to the present instead of lamenting over the bygone time. And I think it is the greatest philosophy that the great philosophers have been teaching since time immemorial. One should live in the present. We should not fret about past. We should not be worried about future. But normally what people do, all the time we are busy, like the great poet P.B. Shelley has said, that all the time we people are busy in just shedding tears of over what is not with us. We don't enjoy what we have. Our sweetest songs are those that tell of saddest thoughts. These lines are from his famous poem, Shelley's famous poem. So, coming back again to the poem. So, here he is in a state of bliss as he is enjoying the company of his beloved, and both of them are riding together. Proceeding further. The philosophical reflection of the narrator continues in this stanza also. Fail I alone in words and deeds? Why, all men strive, and who succeeds? We rode. It seemed my spirit flew, saw other regions, cities new, as the world rushed by on either side. Convincing himself, the lover again questions, is he the only one who has ever failed? He says he had seen all men striving for things they desire, but none, almost none, could succeed. He says in this world, everybody tries to achieve what his or her desire is, but few of them are able to do so. So he is not the only one who had failed, and I think if one gets this feeling of you can say oneness with others, we can face our problem or challenge of life with a brave heart, and that's what he's doing. We rode, it seemed my spirit flew. He says as they ride on, he feels his spirit elated. He's very happy. The narrator thinks of the distant regions and cities as they ride on. That means he is now, his mind is now empty of all the negativity which was earlier there. So, if we shift our focus from the present problem, the gravity of the problem seems little to us. That's what the poet is, or sorry, the narrator is doing also. I thought all labor, yet no less, bear up beneath their unsuccess. He says that he is happy in spite of his lady love's rejection. He says at the end of the work, we often see people achieve much less than what they had hoped for. Look at the end of work contrast, the petty done, the undone vast. See, after completion of a work, if one compares the achievement with the trials that one had faced in achieving that goal, the ultimate success seems very little. That's what the poet is saying. After achievement, if we look behind, it appears to us as if a lot of work is still to be done. The undone work is vast. That means still there is a lot of scope for doing work. And what we have achieved is very petty. It's nominal. This present of theirs with the hopeful past, I hoped she would love me, here we write. He says we see people's ordinary present contrasting with their high-flying hopes in the past. Thus, the lover justifies his achievement in love. He says he desired his mistress's love, but at least he has this last ride now. So it's not a complete failure. It's indeed some achievement, and he's happy with that. So throughout the stanza, the poet is, you can say, trying to solace himself he says, now he is aware of this thing, that he will never have his beloved with him. So at least he is satisfied with the present moment when he is enjoying the company of his beloved and both of them are riding together. So that's all for today. Tomorrow we are going to take up few more stanzas from this poem. I hope you people are watching the videos carefully, because very soon you are going to have an assignment from the same.